Well, look what arrived today. You see that logo right over there? Anyway, it's been a long time coming, so let's crack this thing open and let's begin. It's quite surreal seeing this in person just because I have been involved directly with the Delta-17 brand since the middle of 2020, and these boxes, these shipping cases actually they always come with just one solid character per case. But what Steve has done is when he received the shipment, he did customize my box so that he sent 2 of each character, or at least that's what he told me, and bear with me while I get this open with my scissors. Yes, can get an X-Acto knife eventually, just I keep saying I'm going to do that, and then I don't. But anyway, so let's just get this thing open, and wow, you'll get to experience this with me in person, and just how thrilled I am to finally get these figures in hand. And look at this. There's Leonitis right there. Oh my goodness. Wow. Just, again, I'm just blown away seeing these in person. After all this time. There's your Delta Trooper right over there. So what Steve's done is he sent me 2 of each, one set to keep sealed and one set to open. Here's Kestrel right over here. Wow. Anyway, I'll get the rest of these out of the box, and we'll open up some of the figures for a closer look. And before we get too far with this, here's all 12 figures all lined up. I didn't line them up in any particular order by faction or anything. I was just pretty excited, so I just tossed them up in whatever order that they happen to be in right now. So that's the wave, and then this right here is my stack of figures that will remain carded, basically my second set. So there you have it, Delta-17 has landed in Toy Connections HQ. And one quick disclaimer that I will mention is that because of how heavily involved I have been with this brand directly, I cannot review these subjectively. So what I've done is I've left links in the description section below for various friends' channels and social media outlets where they review these particular figures. And what I'm trying to do here is just show you what you're getting as a consumer. At this point, we may as well start opening up some of the figures. And what I've done is I've started with the Retrograd faction over here, where you've got Death Sparrow and you've got the 2 Thunder Battalions. I'm only going to open one of the Thunder Battalions on this video, but so basically here's the Dark Shadows and Retrograd villain faction right over here. So as mentioned in previous videos, the Dark Shadows, they employ Retrograd, which consists of Death Sparrow and her Thunder Battalion, and this is the Dark Shadows' logo, and this here is the Retrograd logo over here, with that up here being the Delta-17 logo. Now, for curiosity's sake, this is over here is the final pre-production sample of Death Sparrow, which is basically, they called it the final engineering pilot, and what that is it is considered pre-production, even though it looks very similar to the final card. And the reason for that is this wave here, this run was our last opportunity to make changes before the mass-produced full run that would eventually go to retail. So the difference obviously being is, or I shouldn't say obviously being, but it's kind of subtle, is that you see there's a barcode here at the bottom of the actual full production run, and there's no barcode right here. And this is our 5x5 Toys logo, which is the name of the actual company that makes Delta-17, the company that we run. And it's going to be very difficult to see here. Maybe you can pick it up, maybe you can't. But on this final pre-production sample, the head on Death Sparrow is just a little bit narrower compared to the actual full production run. And what we asked the factory to do is to increase the pressure of the plastic that went into the mold so that we could get it just a tiny bit thicker, just to tweak it ever so slightly. So that's a bit of insight here. And this didn't, that final tweak did not happen for all of our figures. Oops. They just happened for some of them, but that's just a bit of an inside scoop as to how this process came.
I know there will be a level of curiosity about the card backs, so you can get an idea for the thickness over here, and this is how they compare to an old G.I. Joe card back. This is not a sealed snow serpent. You can see it's open, but we can get an idea for the size of the card backs here, and they're pretty close to identical. In fact, I think they are identical as we look at them here back to back. And then as we do a further comparison, we've got the Skeletron Robo-Skull Mark II Skeledrones over here, and you can see the card backs are, again, basically the same size if you flip them front to back like this. So I just thought that was a neat tidbit of information to go over. Now to get her open, and this is the part that feels like it's been years and years in the making. So my excitement level is relatively high. Actually, it's pretty much at a fever pitch at this point in time to get this this figure open. Why I've elected to start with Death Sparrow, I'm not really sure, but hopefully you can hear some of the enthusiasm in my voice here. Ooh, that came off quite smoothly. So you can see that unlike the original Joes, we do have a tray on the inside here, and there's actually a plastic cover on the tray itself before you get the figures out. And this will be, you were witnessing with me my first time holding a production figure of Delta-17. So you're getting this more or less in real time. I know I've recorded and uploaded later, but still. So just to get an idea for the tightness of the joints. Yeah, all right. It's what I expected. All right. Trying to sound enthusiastic, but not too enthusiastic. I don't know. But anyway, you can see the Retrograd logo there on the side of the arm. She head turns and a little bit of an up and down motion. So yeah, pretty much what an O-ring figure is, except that we've added swivel wrists. You see the swivel there? You know, we've been able to get this so that the battle grip is a little bit better. So as far as her loadout is concerned, we've got get some of the weapons out here and the figure stand. Now as far as the character is concerned, the loadout, here you've got her weapon as well as her backpack. But yeah, you can check out the older videos that I've got on the channel's back catalog if you want to know more about Death Sparrow as a character. But here she is, and whew, man, sweating here, just excited to get this going. They do have the feel of a vintage Joe. Like I said, while I have fiddled around with our test shots before and some of our paint masters and some pre-production samples, this is my first time with an actual production post-production sample. So yeah, the stand goes right on here. You can see it a bit closer. It says Delta-17 right on it, and that's what all the stands will show. Now my understanding, and I didn't grab another stand like a standard G.I. Joe stand to test this out, but my understanding is that they will fit on a regular G.I. Joe stand, and we just throw the weapon onto her hand there, and there you have Death Sparrow. See if you can get the camera to focus it a tiny bit better. I don't think the focus is too bad right now, but get it to focus a little bit better if I can. So yeah, see if I can get a bit of a zoom. There you go. All right, then with the zoom, I think the focus is a little bit better. So yeah, wow. Really liking what I see as far as Death Sparrow is concerned. Like I said, and like I'll repeat throughout the video, this is not a formal review just because of my immediate association with the brand. It's basically just me presenting it and saying, hey, here's our wares. What do you all think? So, I will thank in advance some of our friends out there who's, they don't, in case I forget any names, I'll just put their names and their channel links and the video links in the description of the video below so that you can check out their reviews and their candid thoughts as an actual consumer of the product. But look at the paint. Look at the overall physique, the overall mold of the figure and the detailing in the boots and everything there, the detailing on the backpack. Hopefully you're able to take it all in and pick it all up. So yeah, there you go. And let's get one of the Thunder Battalion figures open. So moving along to the Thunder Battalion, which is the enemy infantry, and I'll just get the zoom in right now just to get the better resolution. So these are storyline wise basically Spetsnaz, disenfranchised Spetsnaz soldiers that joined Death Sparrow in her cause. And the weapon loadout, let's see, They're removable. I knew all this before, obviously, but I'm just reading it out now. And that's why I'm stuttering, because I don't know if it's excitement because I'm stuttering that's causing me to stutter. So you don't even know English anymore. That's causing me to stutter, or if it's just me trying to read and talk to the camera at the same time. But it's got the removable helmet and visor, as well as the removable PVC belt, as well as the weapon and the backpack. So let's get this one open as well. Right. And get him out of his packaging. Don't want to damage the card art too badly. Ultimately, it's inevitable that you're going to damage the card back to some degree. But there you can see a couple of these figures, these characters, should you intend to army build them. But yeah, so this is one of our 2 Retrograd figure options for this opening wave. Oh, and this one is taped down. So excellent. Excellent. So we shall pour all his weapons out over here. I know it's a little bit out of frame, so let me just angle the camera ever so slightly. And go from there. So there is your GRU Spetsnaz. I know the elbows, sometimes they're angled like this when they should be like this inside the packaging, but that's okay. You'll know what to do once you get them. Now this one, the wrists move a little bit more smoothly than they did with Death Sparrow, but yeah, you can get a good look at the details there on the gloves. You got the Retrograd emblem over there. You know, you've got some of the paint applications on here, you know, basically the same articulation as the Death Sparrow. Now this one came with the belt, very similar to the Snow Serpent belt on here. So I'm just going to go ahead and leave that on, and we can just load this dude up and see how well the helmet fits. Now, this is quite a hard helmet, so that's good. That's just a tiny bit of flex, and this comes with the 2 different visor types. One with the red visor there, and one with the clear. So yeah, I mean, I'm not 100% sure which one I want to throw on there. I guess maybe that's why you army build them, so that you can have more than one option. I don't know. I mean, I'm tossing them all over the place because I'm being indecisive. Again, this is about as candid as you'll ever see me. Because normally I prep my videos a little bit more than this, but this one is about, I'm just going full on shooting from the hip, candid. So there you go with a rotatable visor. And yeah, there's him on his stand. And the weapon, yeah, these weapons slide in quite nicely. So yeah, I'm going to try the other visor actually, just to see how I feel about it. I'd say be careful with the tabs, but we did make them so that the tabs would not break very easily. Of course, I say that right now, touch wood, see what happens in a bit. So there's him without the red on the visor. I'm going to go ahead and leave the red visor on over instead. So there you go. There's the Thunder Battalion and Death Sparrow. And should you choose to army build them, you can always have a little bit more. So there you go. That covers the Retrograd sub-faction within, or that are affiliated with Dark Shadows. Hope you like that. Actually, before we move on, it's a good thing that I checked some photos and sent Steve a text message. This belt was actually applied the wrong way when the figures were put into the cart at the factory. Not a huge deal, but it's just one of those things that, as somebody who has worked on this project for a long time, I should have caught that, and should inform people that yes, this is absolutely the right way to put the belt on. And while we're on that topic, and we're talking about running changes that occurred during Delta-17, at the time of our initial test shots that we showed at JoeFest 23, this was a much harder PVC, a much harder degree of PVC plastic, and we have since softened that to go with something that's a bit more pliable, or I should say, you know, even a lot more pliable. So you can see it's got that same feel as what the Snow Serpent G.I. Joe figure had back in 1985. So anyway, just thought I should issue that correction, because I have a feeling a lot of people are going to apply it the other way around, since that's how it came out of the packaging. And if you do that, that's not the end of the world, but just thought I should get the information out there. at this point, I'd like to have a look at the Dark Shadows faction, basically the key and primary enemy faction for Delta-17 storyline, and the employer of Retrograd as the mercenary faction. So the leader of the Dark Shadows is this individual right here, Shadow Dragon. Again, I've covered a lot of this in previous videos, and we worked pretty hard on the bios to be able to get him get people to understand that he's a pretty important character and a very intelligent leader for the bad guys, so to speak. So let's get him opened up and move on to, I'm not going to say review, but I'm going to say overview and discussion point of this character. Let's see. Being really delicate, more delicate than I normally am with like Hasbro or Mattel products as far as the cards are concerned. So there he is, and things falling. Yeah, his swords fell out already, but that's not exactly a bad thing. So here oops, and his weapon fell out too. Let's put these out of the way. So just see, you got a little bit of bend on the swords here, not too much. So yeah, and sorry, I'm just checking the features here to see if they list the kind of gun that this is, just because I'm not a weapons expert, so a lot of times I'll look at the card to see to try to cheat and make it look like I know what weapons they are, but they're not listed there, so I'm not going to try to fake it. So yeah, he comes, you'll notice that he's the figure of this wave that comes with a cloth cape, and that's pretty cool, right? It's got a little bit of wire here on the bottom to keep it moldable and flexible, so you can kind of see that bend right there. Now there's no wiring on the sides of the cape, so yeah, you can have a look at him, the masked masked enigma of a leader for the Dark Shadows. Now, because of the gauntlets on here, the wrists, they're harder. I mean, they will swivel. They don't think they can go all the way around. No, they can't. So they do get stuck on the gauntlet over there, but that's okay because you do get most of a swivel on the wrist on this one. So yeah, again, I'm not going to go over the articulation again, but this is the same as the other figures as far as the articulation is concerned, but I'd say he looks pretty badass as far as what he is. And here, let's get this get his stand out. And what's cool here is that rather than having a backpack, we've got some, basically the equivalent of sheath openings for him to get his swords into the back, just like this. Now you can leave them that way, you can put them in his hands and make him look like a badass samurai looking character for your G.I. Joe shelves if you choose to go with your own personal headcanon, or look at him as the leader of the Dark Shadows, whatever you do. Your figure, once you get it, your figure, your choice, right? So yeah, the swords just tuck in like that, and that's his weapon. You're gonna hear me say words like weapon and gun a lot. Someone will say M something something, and I'll be a little bit lost. But all right, there you go. The leader enemy of the Dark Shadows, known as Shadow Dragon. So zoom in and have a closer look at him so you can see some of the painted details. Meant to do that a minute ago, but oh yeah, look at that. Look at all the colors. The idea was to make the colors pop as much as possible, and I think we managed to accomplish that. So yeah, let us know what you all think of this particular character. And as we move along, let's get to the enemy assassin of the Dark Shadows there, basically the cold-blooded right hand. Here it is, right here, the cold right hand of the dragon. So Jaguar here, let's get him open and play with him for a little bit. Hopefully this overview of the 12 figures has not gotten too repetitive over the course of the video, and you're still having fun. It doesn't feel too cookie cutter or formulaic, because I know that my usual type of videos are more, how can I put it, edited in a different way, they're cut in a different way, they're shot in a different way. So this sort of like hands in the camera style, I say it every single time I do the hands in the camera style. I say it's not my usual style, and then I go and do it every now and then. Anyway, so I'll shut up for a second and stop going into technicalities and just enjoy the freaking figure. So let's take this off, and he comes with quite a bit. So he's got here, these are called the baton swords, a pair of baton swords you can see right over here. And then, oops, managed to drop his backpack. And this here would be his sniper rifle, and this here would be his SMG. And if you're wondering why I actually know the names this time, that's simply because when you look into the file card here, it actually says what they are this particular time. So that's me faking it for the moment, but you know what I'm really about as far as knowing what guns are, as far as knowing the guns. I mentioned it earlier already, so no surprises there. But let's have a look at Jaguar here. So this is the bipod like we saw on many of the old G.I. Joe figures. Let's get him on his stand and throw the sniper rifle's bipod on like so. And then apparently either one can really attach to the backpack. So if you were to grab the sorry, I shouldn't say either one. I should say that the let's see, just reading the card back there, I guess any of them can be attached to the backpack. So if you were to put the baton swords and slide them into the backpack like that, then he could hold each of his weapons. Or would he hold them, or would he tab them here? I'm just gonna reorient these for a moment. Can these, yeah, these can actually this is so this is a feature that we added. These tab on like that, and everything can kind of, in his case, can stow away. And those same holes are also on the sniper rifle, so that's another interesting feature. But if you were to put the sniper rifle onto him, and I'm just playing with the joints a little bit, so that, I mean, every figure's tolerance is a little bit different. I mean, not all my figures are able to go into the full seated position, but this one is able to, so that's pretty cool. Again, you kind of got to work the figures a little bit. So yeah, there's him holding his sniper rifle, and let's get the backpack on. So there's the enemy assassin. Again, you can have a look at the figures here. Now, all the figures, before I forget, were sculpted either by Tommy Hodges, who did the majority of the figures, or Jesse Sandifer. I believe we actually put the names of the sculptor on our on the packaging. Yeah, it says here who it's sculpted by. But a lot of people are going to draw this comparison, so I figured let's get that comparison out of the way. Sorry, that's just me lowering the camera stand. And a lot of people are going to compare him to Firefly. So that's the look if you are trying to compare him to Firefly. When you put them next to each other, you see that the idea is kind of there, but it's not as one-to-one as one might think. And while we're at it, we may as well take these clear stands that Ian Sanderson sent me and just try them out on Jaguar here, and yeah, he stands just fine. So there you go. Oh, managed to drop his weapon. Put it back later, it's fine. And let's see how well Firefly goes on a Delta-17 stand, and it seems to work just fine. So there you go. Now again, this is not an official G.I. Joe stand. It is a GW acrylic stand by Ian Sanderson, so just bear that in mind. All right, moving on. Now we get to the Dark Shadows' Army Builder ranks, which would be the Okami robot and his multiple optional attachments on here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to flash forward to the open figure, because you've seen me open a few of these already and you get the idea. So this is quite a versatile figure, and what I'll do is I'll simply have you look at the details here for now, and you can look at the sculpting details on the chest there and some of the paint details here on the legs. So overall, we were going for a army builder that you'd want multiples of, so we'll see whether or not we actually accomplish that. And we've got his loadout here. By the way, if it sounds like I'm kind of unsure about some of these accessories and all that. And I'm not talking about the weapon types themselves, but like where they stow, how they actually go on the figure and all that. Yes, I was obviously aware throughout the development process about most of the aspects of these details, but this is truly my first time actually getting to play with them, because the final engineering samples that were sent to me by Steve, those are not open, and then the limited time I had to play with them at Joe Fest, be it in the hotel room before the setup or setting them up at the booth itself, was fairly limited in time. So that's why you're getting a very candid reaction from me here. So anyway, just back on track here. This backpack is a very interesting construction, just because we elected to go with a two-part backpack. So it's like if you want to go with a light attack mode and simply have a backpack here where you just put his two swords into there and the gun tabbed into here, you can do that, or you can do the full-on backpack approach like this. And if you do want to stow the whole backpack or all his accessories into the backpack, then you would slide the swords in like this. All right, just bear with me here. Right, and then you would slide the swords. These are the hand swords, right? These would be the replaceable attachments that you can put onto his hands, which I'll show you momentarily here. So you can stow all his equipment right over here, and then the submachine gun just tabs in like this, and then you would have him kind of go like that, and that's how you could display him if you choose. Now, obviously, if you want to replace some of the weapons, you can take his hands off, just like you would with the Battle Android Trooper, the 86 bat that I'm talking about, or I guess you could say the 1990s bat as well, and you can have him kind of go into battle like this. And then the hands, there's little tabs here where you could stick the hands into here and here, and then either way he can stow all of his accessories. And just for the sake of comparison, here is the 86 Battle Android Trooper, and if I wanted to swap the accessories out, let's give it a test here. So if you look, it actually works accessory wise. So if you want to swap the accessories off the vintage bat to your Okami trooper, Okami robot, then there you go. That's how it is. So yeah, hopefully you like the details on this dude, and if you do decide to buy multiples, then I can honestly say you'd probably like this figure, but I can only speculate about how the rest of you would feel about this. Do take note as well that the Okami and Shadow Dragon have the same long sword there, and there is a bit of flex in the hands, so if you do decide to put the accessories in, there's less chance of breakage or snapping. I'm not going to say there's no chance, but there's less chance, or at least that's what we were going for. But this by and large entails the villains in Wave 1, or it does entail the villains in Wave 1. The only thing you could really add here, story-wise, would be more troopers to build up your army ranks for either the Thunder Battalion or the Okami robot. So yeah, you can see with the villains, what we were going for is, shades of black and gray, and the details are either yellow or red to truly capture that villain type of look. And you'll see that the color patterns completely change when we're talking about the heroes, which we'll get to momentarily here. And now we get to talk about the good guys here. So we'll start with Shephard, I guess, because he's the leader of Delta-17. So here's Shephard, the field leader of Delta-17, and just want to give you a good look of the details on his torso there and on the back side, as well as the legs. So yeah, this for me personally had a really good feeling of opening up an old school G.I. Joe good guy figure, because to this point I've just been opening up the villains so far. But yeah, if you look at the weapons here, he does come with two weapons here, including this shotgun that stows into the pack like this. At least that's how it's supposed to go if you want to have him hold his other weapon. And this set of night vision goggles can be either put in either the up or the down position. I'm going to leave it in the up position for the purpose of this video. It is a flexy material of the night vision goggles, so while they'll take a little bit. Oh, actually, no. I was gonna say it would take a little bit of effort to push in, but I just kind of pushed my thumb on it, and it seemed to work just fine. And then you've got the backpack stowed on like so, and then you hold the weapon in his hands, and then I managed to drop the shotgun, but that's okay. Doesn't matter too much for the purpose of this video. Now here's his figure stand, but I did manage to grab one of the old school G.I. Joe stands just to see how well it would work, since earlier I used the third-party stands. But see, there you go. It totally works fine as far as he's concerned. So yeah, let's get some of his colleagues opened up and continue this. Although before we do that, I just had a second thought, is that the best way to really orient his backpack is to turn it 90 degrees from how I had it earlier and have the shotgun stowed away like that. So there you go. Okay, moving on. So we've got Kestrel open next, and she's a character who is from the Polish Special Forces unit known as J.W. Grom. She's the youngest member of Delta-17 and serves as a grenadier / infantry. And again, let's just have a closer look at the sculpt and overall design of Kestrel. I know the female characters are going to be popular in this lineup, so figure between her and Death Sparrow, we've got a couple of good ones here. So she's got a backpack just like the other characters, and she's got a knife that just slides right into there. I mean, you can have her holding it as well, nothing to stop you, but you know, if you choose to just have it into the backpack like this, you can go ahead. I was just trying to decide which way would hold the grip a little bit better, which is why that took a couple of times to orient. And then you've got the weapon into her hand. Come on. All right. And the good thing about the swivel wrists on these figures is it does allow you, more ability, so that the stock of the gun isn't pointing out, isn't jutting out backwards outwards all the time like it is under Vintage Joe's. Having that swivel wrist kind of allows the stock to be on the inside here. Hope I'm using that terminology correctly. Stock. If I'm not, oh well. Someone will tell me. And there's your infantry / grenadier person for Delta-17. And here you've got the Delta-17, the good guys army builder. You can see the two ethnicities on there. You got the light-skinned as well as the dark-skinned. So you got two different options here, although exactly the same loadout. And if you look at the body construction, same body construction. You can see that the this one over here, I've already got him completely decked out, and the other one is the one I'm going to show you in a bit more detail. So he's holding his Law rocket launcher, and he comes with the G36 rifle. Again, this is all in the back of the file card. He's one of the ones that we did print out what the loadout was going to be. And what's cool about this rocket launcher is if you do take one of the missiles and you put it in, it's actually quite snug. Like it doesn't just come falling back out there. And they do come with gas masks that you can put onto the figure if you choose. Oops, they sort of just clip on to his head like so. So you can just clip it on like that and load him up in that manner if you want, or if you want to leave that off, it stows away nicely into his backpack like this. And of course, here is the K-bar knife, and that just slides into the side here, or you can have him holding it either way. Doesn't really matter. And the oops, silly me. The rockets just tab into the back of the backpack like this. Oops. All right, cool. And if you want, just like with the other Delta Trooper, you can tab the Laws rocket launcher onto there, and yeah, otherwise there you've got them decked up, loaded out, ready for battle to assist Delta-17 in whatever missions they happen to have. So here's your marksman for Delta-17, namely Preacher, and once again, you've got the sculpt here, having a look. This totally reminds me of 80s, late 80s, old school G.I. Joe. Like, he looks to me like he could fit in easily with 1986 to 89 cast of G.I. Joe there. So he's got his AMRAD sniper rifle right over here with the bipod, and it's quite a tall accessory if you look at it, because like this character, I mean, he's on a slightly taller buck. Like if you have a look, the other characters are 3 3/4 inches tall and he's 4 inches tall, so you can kind of see there that he's got a little bit of height on him. And that goes for the character of Rooster as well, who we'll get to momentarily. They're both on a taller tooling buck. So you can either have him hold the sniper rifle, obviously, I mean, just like any weapon, but he's also got this low-tech M4 for close range combat. I'm actually literally just reading that right over here. So the good thing though is you can have both of these weapons just tab into the back of the backpack over here, like so, and then just toss that onto his back like this, fold the bipod down, and there you go. Preacher's ready for combat and ready to do some sniping duties if need be. So there's the marksman for Delta-17. Let us know how you like him. We have been getting a lot of feedback about these two characters here, namely Rooster as well as Leonidas. Now, Rooster, while we go over him first, is the comms and recon specialist of Delta-17 here, and you've got the radio, which you can work into his hand a little bit if you want to. Now that'll take a little bit of time, so I'm not going to do that here on this video, but another neat thing about him is, just like the Okami, he comes with a 2-part backpack system. So if you want to go with the lighter field duties here and just tab his radio on, you absolutely can. So you can see right there that the radio just literally tabbed right into those 2 pegs right over there. Or you can go with the more traditional backpack approach. You got the slightly larger backpack. He does come with 2 antennas in case you lose one. So the only thing is there's no place to really store that spare antenna. So you'll have to just put it into a baggie somewhere. But yeah, so if you do lose one, you've got the extra. And there he is with his backpack. And I guess we'll just throw the gun into his hand and pose him like that. So once again, let's get a bit of a close-up here and have a look at the detailing and sculpting. Got the name Rooster because of his mohawk look. That's why. So he's got that 1988 hit and run type of appearance with a slightly different green, obviously, and different overall figure and different function for the figure, with this dude being the comms and recon person. But yeah, there's your comms and recon man for Delta-17. And yep, you know what? We'll show him with the rest of the team momentarily, and you can see just how great he looks with them. Leonidas here was extremely popular at Joe Fest, and you can see why. He's quite colorful and quite a cool character to simply have. He's officially listed as the second in command of the Delta-17 group, and he's kind of the carefree one. That's why it says hang loose on his shirt. So he's kind of like the easygoing one on the team, but still a very seasoned veteran of the team. Now, you may or may not have caught that earlier, but his dog dish was actually put in upside down inside the packaging. So for those of you for those of you MOC collectors, you'll want to note that. Not that that's a big deal or anything, but yeah, I mean, this dog here was... every time people see it, they're just like, man, that's really cool. You're including animal companions now. Now this is more of a puppy dog more than it is a like canine that's going to go on the attack. But the dog may age a little bit, and this sort of just captures that old school real American hero feel, where they had their dog companions accompany them, or their bird companions accompany them out on the battlefield. So it just tabs right there into the backpack. And what's really cool here is that the dog dish also tabs in. So you might have to work it a little bit, because these might be a tiny bit tight depending on the one you get coming out of the package. But as you can see, it's as you can see me handling it, it's not too bad at all. But yeah, now there's a lot to Leonidas here. You can see the tattoos over here, the tampo work that's been done. It's very, very detailed. Sorry, the camera is just, I think the camera's trying to focus on his face, and I'm trying to show the tattoo details. Hopefully you're getting a good look at the tattoo there, and you got the tattoo on his leg as well. So yeah, and then we just throw the weapon into his hand, and then he's good to go for combat reasons. So that would be the 12th figure in the wave. I saved him for the end because I know he's going to be really popular. Yeah, let me know in the comments how much you like him as well. And there's your core grouping of Delta-17, the heroes / good guys. Like I said earlier, a lot more color and vibrance than what the Dark Shadows and Retrograd had. Maybe that's because of Leonidas here adding a lot to the color scheme. But otherwise, you do see, if there is a commonality here, it's some of the OD green type of look that most of the figures have. But again, trying to capture that old school G.I. Joe Real American Hero type of look. People are going to want to know how these figures look compared to their old school Joes, and I know I've shown a couple of comparisons here with Firefly and the Battle Android Trooper, but as far as the female figures are concerned, here's them compared to Baroness as well as Lady J. Now Lady J looks a bit taller because of her hat, but you can see that the Baroness is about the right height with the rest of the female figures here, with Kestrel as well as Death Sparrow. So yeah, let us know what you think. And here's some of the male figures for Delta-17 and comparing them to some of the male G.I. Joe figures back in the day. So here's Flint, who kind of came out towards the early / middle-ish of the line in 1985, and then Stalker, who came out closer to 1989, or in 1989 I should say, and is closer to the late 80s era of G.I. Joe, which encompasses the overall look that we're trying to go for. So let us know what you think in the comments below, and that by and large covers what we wanted to talk about right here about Delta-17 and introducing the toy line to you all.
And if you enjoyed this video, you can learn more about Delta-17 by clicking on the links right over here to learn about the heroes as well as the villains. And don't forget to look in the description section of the video as well for various reviews from other friends and YouTube channels, as well as the Delta17toys.com website and social media portals. And with that, I'll see you all next time. Thanks again, and take care.